So, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And you can go ahead and kind of introduce yourself, how many kids you have, and how you kind of got into homeschooling, and what style you think fits your family the best. So
I'm Amy. I'm married to David Giove, and we were homeschooled together as kids, meaning that we went to the same homeschool group. Like, I remember in a biology class, stuff like that.
Okay.
We have 9 kids. They're 14 is Noah, Francesca is 13, Giovanna's 11, Vincent's 9, Theophilus is 7, Enoch is 5. No, he just turned 6. Adino is 4, Uriah is 2, and then Raphael is 5 months now.
So you have a house full.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
It's a lot.
But blessed at the same time.
Right.
So, okay.
And what type of homeschoolers are we? I could tell you what type of homeschoolers we've been. I'm not sure what we are.
Okay, go ahead and tell me what you've been.
Yeah, we started out being much more unschooled, and like, they're going to learn to read, but we're not pushing it. And we're just giving lots of different educational options and things to do with them, and tons of reading together. But not like, oh, we have to start school at a certain time, and I guess not by the book is what comes to mind, but I'm not sure if that's right. You know?
Checking the boxes, maybe.
Yeah, right. So I think that kind of bit us in the butt in a way, because my oldest, when it was time for him to get more serious with junior high, we did tons of stuff, but it took at least a solid year or two to sit and say, no, this is something we're doing every day, and this is something you have to do, and we're going to start it at the same time, and we're going to give you that structure. And so we're working on that, and it's the first year of high school coming up. So
okay,
let's see where that goes.
So you're in new waters, and it's just kind of become more of a structured type schooling. And I think sometimes the more kids you get, it's something, it just kind of has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't facilitate all of the things for all of the people anymore.
Right.
Like, yes, we can do read alouds, but it's not appropriate to read aloud the American Lit that we're doing this year with the younger kids.
Right. So, go ahead and kind of show us the curriculum that you do use now, and just kind of go in why you chose that curriculum, a look inside of how it works, and any additional resources that you have access to with that, and how your kids respond with it, and kind of the pros and cons of that curriculum.
Okay. I might need you to go over that again.
But, okay, that's fine.
For A.C.E, School of Tomorrow PACES is what we're doing for math, English, word building, and one child social studies.
Okay.
I do have 2 random science PACES that I can show you as well, just because I ordered from someone else who had leftovers, and those came with it.
Okay.
So I think that what I like about the program is that they could go and do the diagnostic test, and then when they do the diagnostic test, it tells me what are the gap pieces, what are the pieces of the puzzle essentially that they're missing, that they didn't do well enough on, to go back and fill in on, and then pick up, where do we pick up, and for them to just go on from there.
Okay.
So I liked it that it was specific enough to point out those areas that needed help. And so we did the testing, and kids were at different levels at different places, but they could jump in at different grades. I didn't have to worry about, well, I can buy this grade, but then what do I do about that, you know?
Right.
So that was very handy. we first started A.C.E from math. And the way that I found out about it was because when I was homeschooled, my mom did it for me for English, and I was in an umbrella school underneath A.C.E at some A.C.E school.
Okay.
At our church. And that's what they used.
Okay.
So that's how I knew about it. And I was familiar with it for doing English for a time in our homeschool. But I did grow up using many different things. I don't know.
It just kind of seems like it's very suited for each child. I mean, it can be very formed around each child's strengths and weaknesses. And that way you don't have to, sometimes with curriculums, you know, if you were maybe using a Becca or some other curriculum that was kind of an all-in-one, it wouldn't, the math might not fit that child. That child might be ahead or it might be behind in that level, correct?
Right, yeah.
It's real life, Amy. This is homeschool life. It's the way we roll.
I have my older girls out there with them, and I'm like, please figure out what's going on and fix the problem, because screaming in the back room is helpful.
I just roll with it. I just had my kid came down here again naked and needed his shorts on, so.
Yeah. So that is true what you said. I think that what helps me with having so many people in school, there's 6 kids in school this year, is it helps with the structure. It helps that I know that I can give this to them and they can come with problems. Like I guess we aren't all sitting at the same place. I have different areas to help split them up so there's fewer distractions. But it's something that they're responsible for their own learning. It's not like I need to sit and teach this lesson, and then I need to sit and teach that lesson, and then I need to sit and teach this lesson. There are other subjects that I do their reading with them, and I do question and answer time and just other things with them. But as far as like, this is the time to do math, word building, and English, it's like their core subjects, and that's something that they can take and do and check off. And it's easy for me to follow along. It's easy for them to know what to do. It's just the next, I don't know, 4 pages or 6 pages or 8 pages, depending on the kid.
Right.
And they have the goal cards, which I forgot to get out. And I was just looking to see if they were in this thing next to me, but it's not. But the goal cards that they fill out, or I fill out each week, I think it should be done by them, is what A.C.E says. But it's something that I've done to set us up for the week.
Okay.
So that they know what they're supposed to do in each subject. And then they can just go down the list, have their paces in the order that they're going to do them, starting with any self-test or test that they have to do first in the morning, and click off what they're supposed to do and be done.
Okay. So it's very independent, very self-learning kind of style of going. They go and they're kind of responsible for their own, what they need to do. And they just kind of go through their day with checking off what they need to have done.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. That's what I like about that. And so they would do a page or however many pages until it comes to a correcting box at the end. And then they have to they have to come over here to where I'm standing and get down the binder of what is supposed to be done. So like the English, I don't know that you can see that.
Yep.
But they get that out and turn to the corrector key that they're supposed to have and sit there and correct those things with the red pens that are here. And then go back and sit down and move on. Like fixing any problems that they got wrong before coming back to score again. So
you just let them kind of score their own?
Yes.
And that probably makes it easier too, because then you're not scoring 6 kids, someday 9 kids test and everything.
Right. It does make it easier that way, that I don't have to correct everything. I do need to look over that they actually accomplished everything they're supposed to, and that things are scored well. And there are times that I have to initial in their book. So every time I have to initial in the book, they have to come to me for an initial. That's when I can look through and to that point is up to date.
Good. That's awesome. Well, if you want to just kind of show us inside the curriculum of a few of the subjects, or
Sure.
maybe your stacks of books, or the stack that the pages come in, or how it kind of all goes together.
So any year, like I don't buy a year at a time necessarily. It just depends on, like, I've done it both ways. This time I'm buying a year for this year, but in times past, I haven't had the money all up front for all of the kids' stuff, and I've just ordered 3 or 4 pieces at a time. I think that's a little harder to keep track of, but as long as I have my charting what numbers I need to get and what subjects for each kid, then it works. So I'll start with, there's 12 paces in each subject for 1 year's worth of work. And so this is the geometry, and it's supposed to take about 2 to 3 weeks to get through this pace. And there's 12 of them. So on the beginning of every pace, it has their goals of what they're supposed to learn and a verse. And you go over, they read this page to you, and you make sure that they know what they're supposed to be learning and doing, and then you initial. And it might have something like this. It's supposed to have a personal geometry handbook to be able to do this pace. So there may be different things like talk to your kids about this being a hard pace to score, or things of that sort. So then I don't know. This is what the geometry looks like. Obviously, it will vary depending on where you are, like what type of stuff. In the middle is the math key. The math test. So you would take out the test and put it in your binder or wherever you choose to keep your tests. And then when it's time for them to take the test, they don't take the test sitting with everyone else at the normal place doing school. They have a separate place they're supposed to take the test. It's not timed. It's just
just
a clearer space to work.
Right, and maybe just to focus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So it is in here, but it's something that you're supposed to take out and set aside. They have, like, this would be their little scoring thing. I was looking for somewhere. Oh, here's a checkup. So there's checkups. Maybe I should just bring it up, but I don't know if you can see it then. There's checkups here, and the checkups are something that they do, and depending on how well they do in them, they may to go back and review some things. Or they might need to just go ahead and move on with the number of pages they're supposed to do. But that helps prepare them along the way, so you don't get to the end and it's not just like, oh, you failed your self-test, start over again, which has happened actually, but this is why it's not supposed to. So this is the self-test. And then after they've done that, they can study again what they need to, and then move on to the test. So
this comes with an actual book, though, like a textbook type thing?
Yeah.
The geometry?
This does come with a handbook, yeah.
And then let's say that, because I ain't going to lie to you, geometry is going to be like, not for me to teach. So you have resources, correct, that you can reach out to, like if you don't understand it and your child's not understanding it, you have resources that you can go to help get the concept understood, correct?
Yes. So I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember. Timothy Anger has pacesuccess.com.
Okay.
And he has videos on YouTube and different like they'll say in this pace, this is the type of problem you're working through, and he'll work down through the different things. And then there's always Khan Academy.
Okay.
So I think those would be the things other than sending them to Dad.
Right. Yep.
I don't really remember. We'll see how it goes with geometry, right?
Right.
I think that I did it. I did Saxon, and Saxon has geometry in it along with the algebra. So I don't remember it though. I don't look at that and like know how to do it.
Right. And it's something that we just don't use in our daily lives. I mean,
right.
We just don't use it. So you kind of lose that calculus and the pre-calculus and all that. I'm sure we'll have fun when that comes.
Right. Yeah. So those are the resources that I would use for the math to go through and figure out what am I supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So that's geometry. I don't know, do you want to see each of the different levels that I have?
Maybe some different subjects, kind of how the different subjects
Just different subjects, okay.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
So then I have English. English, I think that they're really very thorough in English.
Okay.
And it might be one of the best. Like some people say that math is too easy for A.C.E paces. And I think that they break it down to make it easy to accomplish. But it starts off very easy in little grades and it's a mastery. So it's easier in little grades. And then as you get older, it gets more and more advanced and difficult. But
right. And I think some curriculums, they kind of take that role of easy, but I don't know if they're necessarily easier. I think it's just the way it may be explained and how, the previous mastery has been accomplished. Like Matthew C is the same way. It's a mastery thing. You don't move on until you master, and the explanations make it easy to grasp the concept.
Right. Yeah. And I liked Matthew C that they had the video.
Right.
For me to work through and like know how to teach it to them.
And I don't even teach. So we'd use Matthew C and I don't teach it. They call him Mr. Math. They go watch Mr. Math. And then I will watch it if I need to, if they don't quite understand the concept. But the only thing I don't like about it is there's a lot of correcting with Matthew C.
Okay.
So that's why I don't like it, because I get behind on the grading, and then we've missed a concept way back, and my kids have to go back and relearn that concept because I didn't correct.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I was going to say more about it, but we're not doing Matthew C, so I'll leave that alone.
Yeah, that's fine. And you have the language arts. So yeah, go ahead and show us the language arts. Yeah. And what grade or what level would you say do you have for language arts that you're showing us?
Well, this one that I'm showing you would be Vincent, so it's like 4th grade. 4th
okay.
or 5th, 1050.
Okay.
So I have to figure out the camera part. Yeah. This is the beginning page. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how do I hold this straight with this.
That's okay.
Thing. Anyways, it has your goals written out and the verse that you're going to be working on, and all of them at the younger age, they have these little comic strips, and then the sound chart. And here's the supervisor initial again.
Okay.
That they have to, here it's saying that they have to be careful in scoring the pace and paying close attention.
Okay.
So this is the first teaching page. Like that. And so it is breaking down the different parts of speech here. And that's kind of how they teach it.
Okay.
And then you're doing this. So there's verses on many pages they have to fill in. So that's how it works. They'll just underline the noun in each sentence.
I like that it has a lot of color to it.
Yeah, it's kind of more engaging. Like the geometry one that I showed you, it was higher level and it didn't have the engaging part. Like, but still at 9th grade or 8th grade, it still had a lot of the color and stuff in it.
Right.
For math even.
And I'm a picture person and a person that likes to have the color, and just that's my learning style personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yeah, there is writing things. Like there sometimes will be whole pages of like you need to write something about this or that, but it seems like a lot of these are filling in this page that I picked up.
Okay.
And again, it has the test in the middle. This one they're supposed to read. So this is what the 4th grade level is looking like.
Okay. And that's in language arts?
Yeah, and this is English. It's not the literature.
Okay.
I didn't do the literature. It's just English. It's more like grammar.
Okay. Your spelling rules, your grammar, your...
Yeah, so spelling is word building.
Okay.
And this is 4th grade also, 4th to 5th. And again, the goal page. How do I do this?
It's always backwards.
Yeah. And that's the first page that they're supposed to do.
Okay.
And so they're learning the different, like what it means. Having to write different sentences. It's not like creative writing.
Okay, it's just
like your vocabulary.
Okay.
So spelling and vocabulary in these ones, in word building.
Okay.
So like these ones are ones that I have to score.
Okay. Because you're probably checking for proper spelling.
Yeah, and that they're writing a sentence that actually works. Like that's a hard one for them to say. They don't, like they have to say, write a sentence with Stewart in it and know that it's being spelled right and know that it's being used correctly in a proper sentence.
Okay. That makes sense.
Making sure they're using a period or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Those basic things. So that was English and word building. They do have literature where you read different things, different books that they choose, and then do this kind of workbook stuff with it. And I just rather approach literature differently. So I don't do that. The last one that I have here, or two that I have here, are social studies and science. So I only have one child that wanted to do social studies with this year.
Okay.
So it's same layout. Where they have the different goals. And what it looks like. This wouldn't work for flat earthers.
Okay.
Like they are teaching the globe, but it's kind of half a joke.
And that's science or social studies?
Social studies.
Okay.
So in social studies this year, I guess I didn't look into what they were even covering. She just wanted to do social studies instead of how I was doing it with the other kids. And so I just ordered what was her grade level for that. Because it really goes based on reading level for science and social studies.
Okay.
And then this one is science. And it starts out the same. And this is like 3rd grade, I believe.
Okay. Do they have experiments that they do in there, or is it just kind of?
Like there's this where I guess I wouldn't call it an experiment.
Okay.
Like they're getting different pieces of matter together and labeling them and putting them in a box top.
Okay. But that would be something they would physically go do.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So they have different
So
things.
yeah, I mean, basically a hands-on. I would call it
some
experiment.
Hands-on activities.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just depends on who you are and what you want. This isn't what my kids do for science. It's just what I've gotten because I like doing things with more of the activities and more reading about whatever.
Okay. Does the science stay pretty biblical based, or?
Yes, it's creation based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes that's a big thing in science. If it's like we did an online Christian one for like 3 months, and the words that were wrote were, creation based, but then the videos we watched were evolutionary based and Big Bang Theory based. And so that was, for me, it was a major turnoff because I wanted to stick with the creation side of it until we had a good foundation. And then, of course, I will teach them the other ideas because I want them to be able to learn to back what they believe.
Right. You want to teach them. I know I've had people tell me before that they don't want to teach religion to their child. They want them to choose what they believe. They have to be taught something to believe anything. Right. So they're going to start out with something. And I figured you want to lay the basis for what you believe to begin with.
Right. What is your foundation of what you want, that you're hoping that your kids will take away from it, and lay that as your foundation? Like my foundation of my big why is why I wanted to homeschool was that so that I could teach them biblical truths and biblical values. And so that's my core foundation of what I'm going to teach. So, yeah. And if you choose to do the other way, I mean, then that's what you're going to do.
Right.
So that's great. So how long do you think it takes, which it's a little bit different because if they want to move ahead, they can, but about how long does it take for your kids to get through their day? Like, what does that look like in your home?
I found no matter what curriculum we have, it totally depends on the child, how long it takes for them to get through their day, because no matter how easy or straightforward or simple, some children take forever. That's what I'm coming to.
Right.
However, assuming they're sitting down and they're doing that bit of schoolwork and moving on, they can accomplish the basics of math, English, word building, Bible time, and literature by 1:30.
Okay.
Like
what time do you start?
8:30 or 9.
Okay.
To 1:30. And like I said, not for specific kids that I don't know, like sometimes it'll be just like they're sitting there staring at the page and not doing anything. And I'll like, what about this question? Let's work through this. Right. Move to the next question. So.
Right. Yeah, my kids have learned that procrastination doesn't work very good in our house, because then they have to miss out on opportunities. It's just kind of how I've had it set up. We have school that we do in the morning, and we try to be done by noon or 1. And then we have daily cleaning chores that we do. And as soon as those are done and all their work is done, they're free to do whatever they want. So that kind of gives them motivation to get done, just so that they can go and play and hang out. So what would you say that would be a con about something that you maybe dislike about ACE PACES, if there is anything?
What do I dislike about it? I dislike that you can't reuse them. It's not a curriculum that I have other stuff that I buy and I can just pull off the shelf again and reuse for the other kids. So it's
a very, very consumable curriculum.
Yes, it's very consumable.
But it is an accredited school.
Yes.
So you get, which I don't know if they've changed things, and maybe it's different in South Dakota. I think you can still get a high school diploma if you've been homeschooled, no matter what curriculum you've used, but I don't know if it's like that for all states. And with this, it would be accredited, so they would actually get their high school diploma, and you can even do some college, correct, in high school?
Yeah.
That would be accredited college courses. So if you have that kid that's just super advanced and just super moving through it, why not have them get some college courses out of the way?
Right.
If that's what they plan on to do. So now that we've kind of seen inside the curriculum, is there anything else you want to add about your curriculum?
They have so there's a really great group if you are thinking you are interested in doing this and you want to do this. What I've showed you does not like accurately display the way that they would have you do it. Meaning they have like a whole learning center set up where there's dividers for each kids that each have this section that they sit in. They have their own the goal cards, like I was talking to you about, my kids have, but they have that and other charts set up in there. They have their Bible and all of the dictionaries and thesaurus and stuff like that set up. And that's where they sit and they do their schoolwork. And then they have to get up and go score somewhere. They have this learning center theory that I haven't like entirely brought into the home.
Okay.
So you could use it like I am, or you could implement the learning center in your home, and you can learn more about that and much more about the curriculum by joining ACE Homeschool Moms Facebook group. That has a really good set of ladies there that are very helpful, but even more so, even if you just want to join and then look in the files section, there's so much there. I don't use the what do they call it? The Home Educator's Manual. I just figured I was familiar enough with the program to begin with that I didn't really need that. But they have the Home Educator's Manual on a PDF in there. They have the scope and sequence forms, and I don't remember. Different things of that sort.
It'd be a really good place for someone that was starting out with this curriculum, or starting out even homeschooling, to see, kind of everything that and the help that could be offered out there.
Right. Yes. Okay. And ladies even showing like, well, this is how I store their year's worth of curriculum, and this is how I put together all of their tests, and how you know what I mean?
Right.
So they have. Oh, the one thing I do have that I forgot to show you was they have
Tim's playing on the Wii now.
Okay, go.
A record packet.
Not right now. Go. Okay.
Go. And this is where the goal cards are from. I hadn't opened them for the new school year yet, so. In here, they have the goal cards.
Okay.
Can you see it this way?
Yep.
And they have the colors, which I like. Math is yellow. English, word building, green is social studies, and that's math. Literature.
Okay.
And I think this one's Bible. So you would write like the subjects here and then have the days of the week and write in what pages they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, it's just the glare from the window, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have that. They have a student progress report, which I don't do because maybe I should, but I don't do it because I'm not a teacher that's handing it out to the parent. Like I'm involved daily and I
Right.
haven't needed to do that.
Right.
On the back, this part would be helpful and good to do, even as a homeschooler, I think. And I haven't not done it yet. But saying like, are you following directions well? This is something you do with them and they give the answers and they give themselves a score. Excellent,
Okay.
good, satisfactory, or needs improvement. So following directions well, working well independently, not disturbing others, taking care of materials, completing work required, achieving computer assignments, social traits, personal traits. And then they have the academic record, which I also have not done, but
Okay.
I think for high school, it's going to be very key to keep track of.
Right.
So for each grade and what they did, this is what counts towards graduation for their math, English, science, social studies, Bible, electives.
And that would be something good for the states that require you to record and,
Yes.
to turn in grades. Some states require you to record how many hours of schooling you're doing or how many days. They want grade reports. They want all the reports.
Right.
So
this would be great for them.
Right.
So they do have that. And then there's the mastered record sheet for the year. You get one of these each year.
Okay.
And this one says each of the paces that they did, and then the number pace and the percent that they got on it to keep track of student name. And this would be the attendance record.
Oh, is this mom?
I keep attendance just by filling out the goal cards because I figure it has all of the dates. It has everything that they did each day on it. But yeah, if you just need to turn in an attendance record and some basic scores, that could be good
Right.
to have. And then this is motivational for the kids, I feel like.
Okay.
This is their chart. So when they get done with their test or whatever, they're able to take one of their stickers that are color coordinated and put it on the chart where they are. If they finish their school each week. And they have those special stickers for their Bible reading or their Bible memorization, not reading. But they like that, being able to fill in stickers.
Right. And it just kind of gives them a sense of accomplishment also.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good.
You can see like, and I'm on a streak. Oh, I missed that last week. I didn't accomplish all of my work. I have to work over the weekend. Or, and I would say that towards the end of the year, we end up like losing it. Not the actual paper. We end up not keeping track of things like that.
Right.
Like not putting the stickers on or whatever. But
it's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
There's an end in sight and you're just kind of ready for that. So I have a few questions that I had at the end. What would you say would be your best homeschool tip?
I don't know. Best homeschool tip. I guess not to give up. All of us want to quit at some point, and maybe a couple points along the way, there's going to be hard times, and it may be like days, and it may be a year that you're just done with, not going well or whatever. Don't be afraid to innovate or make changes, but even when you're doing that, you have to guard against, like, a new curriculum isn't going to always solve it. Oftentimes there is some other underlying problem with you. Like, I'm thinking of with me not being willing to follow through with something, or, you know.
Right.
So sticking with it and make changes as needed, but don't think that always making a change is going to fix it.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
feel like
I do.
I'm contradicting myself, but
Right. I mean, there's been times that I'm just, yes, you get into a rut, and it might be a whole year, it might be a short season, it might be changes that have happened in your home, like a new baby or any of that, and it just becomes overwhelming. But I think if you focus on your why and try to remember your why, and I would say be diligent about praying. And, you know, when you see those fruits, I think it makes it all kind of the bad disappear. Just like when your child is born, you forget very quickly all the pain you just went through.
yeah, you forget the labor pains.
Right. Yes. What do you guys do in your family to keep it fun? Like, how do you keep, you know, because sometimes, you know, the kids are like, well, so-and-so gets to go do this and they're doing this. What do you guys do to keep it fun in your home?
I don't know, the things this year will probably be different. We like to, my husband works at a university, and we like to go and make use of their pool and the climbing wall. There's homeschool co-op. There's my daughter's taking up violin, and she's really looking forward to that being an outlet this year. Like, she's a really driven one. So she's not intimidated by the hard part that's coming. Like, that's exciting
Right.
to her.
And it's maybe something that sometimes when a kid finds a passion, we have to feed that passion. I mean, it's maybe a gift God's given them or whatever it may be, to feed that passion. And that's kind of my daughter's musically. She likes, you know, guitar, learning the piano. She's self-taught because I am not musical at all. And it's just kind of her escape when it's been too much, or, you know, she just goes down into the back room here and she'll write music, write songs, learn chords that go with it to make it work. And she's 10. So, you know, that's really a positive thing that I'll feed. So,
yeah, I definitely have kids that will be like, I just need to run around the block. And, you know, they're losing their mind. But if they can run around the block and climb the tree and come back in, then life is good again. It's
right.
Okay. And another daughter that wants to bake or cook. So
right.
I feel like my other little boys, I don't know a lot about what it'll be for them.
Right.
For them, it's more like, cool, can't we watch a movie, or can I build Legos? You know, just typical things that kids do, not anything in particular or special.
Right.
My older son really likes making videos and writing. He likes writing movie scripts.
Okay.
So those are things that he does and enjoys doing.
That's awesome. It's funny how our kids can be so different, you know, when they're in the same home. So the next one, you have 11 people in your household, right? With 9 kids, you and your husband. What is your best organization tip?
Get rid of as much as you can. I feel like if you are willing to sacrifice on things that aren't as important. So we rent, and we have great rent. And we live in a house that's 1,075 square feet, and there's 11 of us. And how we make that work is by building specialty things. Like my husband built 2 triple bunk beds in the boys' room, so the boys can all be in there. Except that we had another boy, and so his crib will still probably go in there eventually. But being innovative in that sort, where I just had a hard time with him building things. Like I didn't trust that he could do it when he didn't have training in it. But once I got past that over the years, he's built us a lot. And so like a table that we sit on the floor at, it's just a foot tall. But then we don't have to have all these 10 or 12 chairs around the house that just clutter up the space. So being able to be innovative, get rid of as much as you can. For us, that means not having couches and chairs. That would be what helps us stay the most organized. Having a home for every item is something that I work on and get frustrated about often.
Oh, yes. Yep. So that's kind of, I guess, would fall in your management tip, but do you have any other household management tips as far as like how you keep your laundry going, how you keep your meals done, how, you know, you just, a lot of people think that homeschooling is you sit at home and do nothing, and it's not like that at all.
Right. It's not. I don't have an idea of what the other side of the puzzle looks like because I grew up homeschooled and I'm homeschooled. So
right.
I think it's imperative to spend time. For me, it's on Sunday, but it could be Saturday for other people. Planning out the week, planning out the school, planning out the meals, having a town day, like the shopping day, at errands day. I wish that I can't fit all of that in on Sunday. I wish that I could have a completely blank slate for the whole week and then only do stuff out of the house on Saturday and Sunday, and it doesn't work for me. We inevitably need another day. So work on, like, I feel like laundry is something that you can always do. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Whereas it's more complex doing a meal, like a schedule for our meals. I just forget what it's called at the moment. I said it a minute ago, but
meal planning.
Yeah, the meal planning. The meal planning is more complex because if I don't have a list of my meals that, like right now, I've lost our list of meals and we're trying to be dairy-free and gluten-free. And so my brain just goes blank unless I have a list of the meals that we like to eat that fit that. That's a big hurdle for me. And then if you don't have stuff in the house or you don't have a working plan for how you make your grocery list and what stores you go to, and I don't know, it's a more complex thing, but it's key in keeping it all together. And I told my husband that I was supposed to do it on Sunday and I didn't, and it's Wednesday and I still haven't done it, so it better get done today because we're going to be eating a lot of beans and rice otherwise, just because I'm not getting stuff out of the freezer. Then that's my fallback meal.
Right. That's great. Yep. And I think that's kind of meals are kind of the big thing, because you still have, I mean, especially when you're home, you're looking at 3 meals a day that you're feeding everybody. And if you don't have a plan or you're not prepared in the morning, then you're trying to do school and then lunch rolls around and you're like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think for us, I just do 2 breakfasts. It's either eggs or it's oatmeal. So that's really simple. And then, like, I'll do smoothies for myself, but it gets messy and expensive to do it for everyone. So I just don't do it. And then for lunches, we were doing either salads or something else that I'm not remembering. Oh, like, I don't know what to call it, but we'll do, like, there's a meat, there's a vegetable, there's a fruit, there's nuts. There might be a cheese, sometimes crackers, but just a plate with your serving of all of those items on it. Just random things. Not, I don't think of it as a meal. It is a meal, but what do you even call that? I don't know. So just going back and forth between those two things for lunches. And then dinners are actual, like what I think of as meals, where you have the meat and the vegetables and you're cooking it. And
sounds good. So what, as even just moms, I think, even if you don't homeschool your kids, I think it's really easy to get burned out. We let our cups empty. We try to pour from that cup and it just doesn't work. What do you do personally to help fill that cup so that you can pour out to your husband and you can pour out to your kids?
I'm not sure. I serve as a doula and I've been a midwifery apprentice for a while. And I do come back from those things tired, but fulfilled, I guess I would say. Pre-pandemic, I had like women's circles for people who want to talk about birth, breastfeeding, postpartum, labor, all that stuff, fertility, and then also circles for girls, just learning about bodily autonomy and how they work and the many things about growing up as a girl. So those are things that I have done, but I haven't done post this baby and pandemic wise. So now I feel like I'll just check out. I'll be like, okay, the little ones are going to bed and I'm going to go and lay and nurse the baby and I'm going to stay there a while. But I don't know of a thing in particular that I like making stuff. I make a lot of tinctures or cells or herbal powders or things of that sort.
Awesome. So just things that you're passionate about, you try to do that for yourself, even if it's sharing with others and lifting others up or helping others, which, I mean, that's a wonderful thing to have that passion and be able to help others at the same time. I think however you fill your cup, however that looks is something great, and we just need to do it. So, do you do any podcasting or blogging, or do you follow anybody, or do you listen to is there any Bible study books or books that you like to read that help, that you would recommend?
So, Home Plain and Simple. I try and remember her name. It's bad, but I'm not thinking of it right now. She is a mom of 9, and she wrote 2 books. Like her early book was Large Family Logistics. And then she said she made it better, and I never got the second book as I was intending to. But that one, she didn't name Large Family. It was something like Home Plain and Simple.
Okay.
And I've liked following her. For Motherhood Simplified is someone that I've gotten her different decluttering classes, I guess you call it, courses.
Yep.
And that's been very helpful. And I guess that I bought in early on that it would be something that you did, and then this is what you had to live with, and it was just going to be great. And then I got really discouraged and frustrated that I was always doing this. But I think I've just come to terms that is going to be life. I'm constantly bringing new stuff in. My kids are growing and changing. My house is fluctuating. And that's just going to be something that I'm going to be doing a lot of constantly. And that's why I ended up buying the courses, was because it gave accountability, not only putting more money towards it, but being able to be in a group and be able to talk with other people and show your progress along the way. And it gave me something to come back to, like, oh, I have this. It's tangible to me then. I'm going to come back and work on that again when I feel like things are out of control. Who else? So we are Messianic, and we do like the different Torah reading. We have Bible time with the kids, and where we do the Torah reading, and we do the prophets, and then the portion of the New Testament. But I don't have something like a different book or something along those lines that I do.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. I don't know. That's what's coming to mind at the moment.
That's fine. That's great. I think more people are becoming minimalistic. I can't even say that word. Minimizing their homes. Just, you acquire so many things, and then it just becomes more chaos, and it creates problems. And I think a lot of people are turning to, minimizing and just living that kind of lifestyle. And I think people are finding out that it makes things a lot easier too. So what advice would you have for parents starting on this journey?
Well, I guess when I first think of that, I think of us starting, and we had both been homeschooled. So the first thing that we thought of is like, we got to go to the homeschool convention. We got to pick our curriculums. And I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. I always felt like, oh, well, it's not enough to teach reading, like how to read and how to write letters and how to like do basic math. Aren't you supposed to do science? Aren't you supposed to learn about cultures? Aren't you supposed to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fill in the blank. So many different things. So if you're starting young like that, they don't need it all. Like what they really need is starting to, yes, to learn to read and to write and learn basic math, but to learn about the wonder, like sitting and reading with you, about all the different things that you find interesting, that they find interesting. And I tend to be someone that's not a fiction person, but kids connect with stories.
Right.
So to me, it would have been relevant to hear, like, don't think everything has to be a teaching thing. Like, they grow and learn vocabulary with stories, and it's a good thing.
Right. Right. There's a lot of schooling that can happen that doesn't have to happen behind a desk or with a textbook or with however that looks. I mean, yeah, it can. My 10-year-old daughter, in the fall time, she waits tables at the sale barn. We own an auction sale barn where we sell cattle, and we have a cafe in there. So she really likes to learn to make money. So she goes and waits tables. We have that opportunity that she can do that. And so with that comes the responsibility of having a checkbook, balancing your checkbook. That's a life skill that she'll learn. And it's, she's learning how to communicate with people, that are our customers, that she has to learn to respect, and just to be able to communicate in that way, and, write, abbreviate for, what's on the menu and what they're eating. So prices, taxes. So yeah, I think a lot of learning can happen, anywhere, really.
Right. Yeah.
So what about for parents? And you kind of, I think, touched this advice already, but parents that aren't new to this journey, you had said to not give up. And would that kind of be the same advice you would give?
Yeah, I think that he said starting out in the journey, and they could be starting with much older children. And if you're starting with much older children, I think I would say not to try to do school at home. It's kind of like people were saying they're homeschooling during the pandemic. And I say, no, you weren't. because just because you're at home and you're thrown some stuff to do and you're told manage these kids, that's not homeschooling during the pandemic. We aren't homeschooling during the pandemic. We aren't doing all of our normal life activities. And so if you're going to be homeschooling, then that's you choosing the curriculum and the learning opportunities for your child that you think will work best for you and for them. And that's purposely engaging in that. So if they're older, realize that it's not going to look the same as going to school, and that's good and okay.
Right. And I think by choosing your own curriculum and choosing your kids' own kind of what you want them to learn, there's so much freedom in that. You know, I mean, so much freedom.
It can be overwhelming.
Yes, it can be overwhelming, but there is also just the freedom of what you want your child to learn, or how your day looks, instead of the distant learning. You know, they don't have to learn this, or they don't have to, you know, be here to do a Zoom with a teacher at a certain time.
Right.
You know, if you choose your own curriculum, it can be very, very open of how you do it, and what time you do it, and how it works for you and your family.
People were talking about the schedule, like they're getting all these emails for all these different kids' teachers, and they're trying to manage their schedule. They're suddenly their personal assistants. And it just doesn't work the same when you're homeschooling, unless you want it to.
Right.
Unless that's the role that you want to fill.
Right.
So there is some de-schooling involved.
Right.
Just recognizing that you're taking on a different role and taking charge of their education purposely. Right.
Yes. Well, I don't have anything else except for some recommendations on joining. I would recommend people to join the Homeschool Defense Legal Act, especially now with what we're going through. I think we're going to see some homeschooling, because I think a lot of people are moving to that. And so that's just kind of a lawyer in your back pocket. It's like $12 a month, I think. And I recommend that. I am putting the videos on YouTube. And I think if you just write my name, Rachel Anderberg, you can subscribe to that. I'm not technical savvy at all. Or I've been calling them all a virtual homeschool convention, kind of is what I've been doing. And so you can type in that and the video should come up. I'm a little bit slow at getting them all uploaded because, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. So I thank you so much, Amy, for showing us what works for you and your family, and how the ACE PACES curriculum works. And it's been wonderful to have you on here.
Thank you. I was going to say, with the HSLDA, they also have a lifetime membership for your whole family.
Okay.
At $1,000. So if you believe you're in it for the long haul, that could be worth it.
Right. And even if you can't budget that, I mean, $12 a month, if that's what you can budget, you know, that is like a couple cups of coffee at the Starbucks or at the coffee place, or that's just, you know, that's something I think that you should try to budget in. And I think it's important to be members of that and support, you know, the homeschool.
Right.
The homeschool world, or
Homeschool
whatever.
Legal Defense Association. Yes.
You know, I just think that it's great to be a part of that. And I think they have some help with that. You know, if you're needing curriculum help, they can help you in that. There's just a lot of things
they have great stuff for homeschool. I was so glad to find out.
Yes, they do have a lot of great stuff that you can do. And you can always go on there without paying to see what your state laws are. You know, it'll have each state and it'll show you what the laws are and what you have to do to navigate through that. I know I helped a lady in Washington just recently. Her mom lives here, but she lives in Washington, really close to Seattle. So of course she's going to homeschool because of what's going on there. And but she didn't understand how to get started because it looked really scary, really scary. And so I kind of just directed her and I was like, you just have to take a class unless if you have X amount of college credit hours or your husband, then you don't have to take the class. You don't have to pass anything. It's just a class. And then you can go from there. So I just, yes. So, well, I thank you for joining us, and we will end the broadcast. You guys, if you have any questions for me or for Amy, go ahead and just reach out to us, and we will answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.